Welcome to Haunt Topic Radio, the podcast for haunters by haunters. These are our scary visions.
And one of the biggest lessons that I have learned is that every single haunt operates differently. Every haunt has different processes. Every haunt does hiring, scheduling a little bit differently. So I kind of put scheduling into two groups.
Wow, we missed like a whole month. I don't even know where that went. Welcome back to another episode of Haunt Topic Radio. Sorry for leaving you guys hanging. We've had Transworld, was in March. I went there as Scarab badges. We had lots of fun. We sold lots of badges. And then I came back here and tried to get orders out. We had some website stuff going on, so I had to take care of that. I'm still uploading new badges. So we didn't have a podcast episode in March. But if you guys were at the show, thanks for stopping by. A lot of you guys said you listened to the podcast. We really appreciate that. It's good to hear feedback from all of our listeners. We had different countries. We had someone in Australia come by and said they loved our podcast. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for supporting us. It was good to hear your voices. Let's roll on to this episode. This was taken before Transworld. It was a presentation by Justin Blackburn from Scython.io, which is Scython is a haunt recruitment management organizational tool software for your haunted attraction. He gets on and teaches us a lot about hiring actors, organizing actors, and then he goes into the platform of Scython and what you can do with it. So if the software is not expensive, it does all your time clock. You can even organize and keep track of all your Scarab badges for your actors. So we have teamed up with Scython. We've been a partner for a while now. So if you do Scarab badges, you can team up. You can put those in the Scython, and that will keep track of your badges and who got what badges. And you don't have to keep track of that on a piece of paper. It will be saved for you. But this presentation is really good. You learn a lot about different types of scare actors, scare actor safety, just a bunch of stuff that Justin goes into and teaches us. So listen to it all. If you have any requests for any kind of trainings coming up, holler at us on Facebook. If you're a member of the Haunters Toolbox group, you can message us through there. You can message us through our Facebook page, which is Haunt Topic. You go over there and message us. You can actually reach us through Scarab Badges Facebook page as well. And of course, we have contact forms on all of our websites out there. So just holler at us. If you're a member of our email list, you can send me an email and we'll respond back to you with any kind of ideas and topics that you would like to hear. We have some planned up, but we don't have stuff planned the whole year. So if you guys have stuff that you want to learn about, let us know and we will push it out. We'll get someone on. And our next one I know is with David Bertolino from Spooky World. The founder of Spooky World is our next one. It is going to be May 12th, 7:30 p.m. Central to 9 p.m. Central. You can join that by visiting our Toolbox group. The event is pinned to the top of the Facebook group, Haunters Toolbox. And if you're a member of our email list, you will have gotten a notice. I will send another notice to remind you. And how to join that for free is go to haunterstoolbox.com, become a free member, and you will start getting emails. You'll get podcast episodes. You'll get the new podcast episodes we release, and you'll get some informational stuff, emails to make you a better haunter. And it's free. It's haunterstoolbox.com. Let's roll into it. Our presentation by Justin Blackburn from Scython.io about managing, hiring, organizing your haunt team.
So as we kind of go through each piece, anyone on the call, if you have any additional, ways of, recruiting, hiring, as we talk about each thing, feel free to add your feedback and things that have worked for you, because I probably haven't included everything, and there's probably scenarios that people on this call will have that will be helpful for others. So definitely pitch in if you have additional ideas as we go through each section.
And I want to add one more thing. If you're watching this, this is a Haunters Toolbox Facebook Live presentation. If you see this anywhere else, you'll have to get into Facebook on our Haunters Toolbox Facebook group. It'll be pinned to the top of the page for about 2 or 3 weeks, so that you can be able to watch this. This will also be a podcast on Haunt Topic Radio as the audio, but you're going to miss so much because Justin has a cool presentation. Me and Daryl checked it out about how to recruit, manage, and organize a haunt crew. That's Justin Blackburn from Scython. So, yes, ask your question, guys. If you got an email in or a link in your email, and you're a member of the Haunters Toolbox group on email, then click that link. It'll bring you to our Zoom. So if you're in our Zoom group, we have private chats and stuff going on in our Zoom as well. So click that link. If not, you're on Facebook, join live. All right, Justin, take it away. You're on mute again.
There we go. Appreciate it, Brian. So yeah, like I said, feel free to pitch in if you want to just add any comments to the comment section. Brian, Daryl, if you, as the comments come through at a good time, feel free to pitch in with those, and I can comment on anything that anyone has in the comments. Let me share my screen. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. So welcome for everyone that's here. I'm Justin. Just a little bit about myself before we get started. My background is in cybersecurity. I was a teacher for a little bit, and then I was in IT, and then moved for about the last 6 or 7 years. I've been in the cybersecurity space. In addition to that, I was a haunt owner for a pretty large haunt for 11 years. And I'm also the founder of Scython, which I will talk about a little bit in this presentation. And I will do a brief demo at the end. So anyone that may be new to Scython or has not heard or used Scython, you'll get to see a little bit and hear a little bit about it here at the end of this presentation. And then Scython also was the winner of the 2025 Oscars Award at Transworld this past year, the New Vendor Excellence Award. So we were super proud of that. And we will be back at Transworld this year, booth 2024. So if you are at Transworld, definitely feel free to stop by and say hi.
Well, congrats on that.
Appreciate it. So for tonight, this is kind of the overall agenda. So we're going to talk about actors, your recruiting process, hiring, firing, training, scheduling, sort of everything around building your team and then retaining your team. And then finally, we'll wrap up with a short demo of Scython and have a roundtable and Q&A. So let's get into it. So I'm going to start out with the 3 categories of actors. So my first category is going to be the younger actor, the high schooler or the college student. And this is going to be someone that's just looking for that fun seasonal job, not necessarily looking for the money, but just something fun to do. Usually they have high energy, but because they're young, may not have work experience, they usually need the most direction. However, this is your group that's going to be the most trainable. These can be your future leaders. These can be your future managers, directors of your haunt. So definitely look to this group to form your future leadership team. The second category is what I call the stage actor. And these are your actors that you've potentially recruited from theater groups, acting guilds. They're going to be more serious about their character. They have that background in theater and dialogue. One thing to keep in mind here when you hire from theater groups, if it is someone that is new to the haunt world, is they're not used to being a line actor. They're used to doing a play. They're used to acting, a full dialogue for an hour, 2 hours long, not doing the same thing on repeat 200, 300 times on a given night. So that is one thing that sometimes can be difficult for them to transition to, from that long dialogue play theater to, doing the same thing for 20 seconds and then repeating that. This is also the group that you don't want to hand them a chainsaw. You don't want to put them behind an actor-matronic. Because they're not going to want to come back. They want to be able to use their dialogue. They want to be able to use those theater skills. And likewise, you want to take advantage of that. If they have strong dialogue and theater background, then put them in a role where they can really shine and use that dialogue and use that theater background. And then the last group is what I like to call the beer money guy, and these are your actors or staff that are just here for the so-called easy money, and sometimes the social interaction. But these are your guys that are going to be your best chainsaw guys, your best actormatronic operators, because they don't necessarily have a theater background, but they don't mind to get their hands dirty and just have fun. So kind of the conclusion to this is really try to get to know your new actors before you cast them into spots. Because if you put someone in a spot that really doesn't fit their background or their interests, then they're probably not going to have a good time. And let's be honest, nobody's getting rich from working in the haunt industry. So they're probably not going to come back if they're in a role that they're just not comfortable with or that they just don't enjoy. So really try to get to understand the interest and the background of your staff before you cast them. And that can be a great thing to put on your recruitment form. So if you have a recruitment form, which everyone should, whatever you put out there to get applicants to apply for your haunt, put something on there. If you don't do that, ask them when you have an initial orientation. Find out about their interests, find out about their experience, because that can really make or break someone. Because when you find the right people, oftentimes they'll come back year after year. And once you find those core group of actors, those can really be your shining stars.
I think Scarrett badges are one of the smartest things I've seen in the industry in a really long time. Scarrett badges are basically either pins or embroidered patches, kind of like merit badges, as they are, somewhat named after, from Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and Brownies, and where after you've accomplished something, you can wear the brag tag of the embroidered patch. Some haunts put them on jackets, some put them on t-shirts, some put them on, with the pins, I've seen them put them on lanyards. But the neat thing about them is they are very specific in what they are rewarding. And they're haunt-based images that reflect what's being rewarded. It's retention, it is bringing people back, and it's actually giving your haunters, your haunt performers, the ability to share that they are haunt performers. And, oh really, you're a scare actor. Where do you do that? And then they will insert the name of your haunt right there. So it's also marketing. I've always been a big fan of Scarrett badges. I think they're great. So check them out, scarrettbadges.com. No, that is not a paid advertisement. That is just my recommendation. I think it's really cool.
ScottSwenson.com.
Anything else that anyone wants to add in the comments in the audience before we move on to recruitment?
One of the things that we often get a lot of is people who just love Halloween, and I would kind of probably slot them into the beer money team because they have an interest in it, but they don't necessarily know how involved and how tough it is to do the acting.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Some of them have had a tough time, and other ones have done really well just because they like the horror or the that sort of stuff. But it's really new to them. It's like, oh, I don't know if I can act. My friend said I should do this, and you find that role for them, and bang, they are scaring the boots off of everybody every 30 seconds. It's great.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. This year, actually, I know the managers of a local haunt, and I try to go out there as much as I can. And I was a guest actor this past October, and it had been a few years since I had really gotten my hands dirty and been an actor. And it was a ton of fun, but I forgot how hard it was. And I was in the shower at 2:00 in the morning trying to scrub the face paint off. And you forget about all of those things after you've been away from it for a few years. But it was a lot of fun, but it was also very tiring and it was hard work. But finding people that they can enjoy it is really the key there. No, let me go back. So the next section I want to talk about is recruiting. So when and where you post your job ads is really going to determine how your core group shapes out to be. So some places that I typically recommend, and we have several blog posts about this on the Scython website, about where are good places that haunts will have success at recruiting. So the first one being your website. Obviously, that's going to be free. Any of your customers or loyal followers this is probably going to be where they go to look for any potential job opportunities. So, Monsters Wanted, join our team, something like that on your website with a link to apply. Most haunts are going to find success there. In addition, your social media pages, obviously free and where your loyal customers and fan base are going to be and going to see. So definitely a great place to post links to your application on your social media pages. Likewise, your actors and staff from previous years, they have their own social media pages. They can share their experiences working for your haunt. So oftentimes asking them to share can exponentially expand the reach of your applications to their entire friend groups. And then if they share, then, obviously that can really reach a large audience pretty easily at no cost to you. So definitely take advantage of not only your social media, but your actors as well. Then you get into kind of some not free options. Indeed or Monster, some haunts, depending on location, can have some success. This especially is great for people that may be looking for seasonal work, posting a job, making sure that the headline and the description is engaging, come, be a monster for the month of October, definitely include all of the perks. And, job sites like this can definitely get you some good actors for the season. Halloween theater and Halloween enthusiast groups. You can sometimes find these on social media. There may be local groups, depending on your area, that have these groups that you can ask to send emails to, post flyers, whatever the case may be. But these are where sometimes you can get some really good actors that have theater experience or just really love Halloween. And then lastly, local high school or college job boards. High schools and colleges typically have a job board in some capacity, whether it's a physical job board or some sort of a digital newsletter that they send out to their students. They oftentimes will post jobs for free in the local area. So get in touch with the schools in your area and ask to put an ad in their newsletters. And oftentimes you can get some good actors from those boards. Is anybody else in the comments in the audience have any other places where you've had success recruiting?
Somebody had mentioned they picked up several people from a neighboring haunt that had closed down. So
Okay.
you're not just stealing them, but
Right.
you've already got some people that know what's going on.
Yeah.
And something that I don't do enough, but I know some of our other Hunters Toolbox members have, is if you're out picking up fast food and you find somebody that's got some personality and think they could be a haunt, drop a card with the name of your haunt on it, like a business card, and just a tag on the back that says auditions coming in June and point to your social media. Will that get them? No, but at least they know. If they didn't know about it before, they will know about it now.
And oftentimes they may have friends that are interested, and just knowing that the opportunity is out there sometimes can be just word of mouth can help get people as
Yeah,
well.
and that's a good idea too. Is to ask them to ask their friends, because sometimes they wouldn't think about asking their friends or their family or whatever, because they don't think there's any spots open or whatever. So it's like, hey, we're looking for referrals. Anybody interested? Because I've brought in people like that before too.
Yep,
Just put it
absolutely.
out there. Yep.
Yeah, and if you do a recruitment bonus for somebody, it's one of the things that we've done at our haunt is if somebody that's an existing actor recommends somebody else and they don't get fired during the season, you get a bonus. So
I like how you added that caveat, and you don't get fired.
Craig Watt pays a referral bonus to actors that bring people in.
yeah,
They must make it the whole season and get the bonus.
yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
that's exactly it, Craig.
Yep, always a good idea. Cool. So once you establish a good process or establish a process for the season, at some point during the season, ask your new actors, how do they hear about you? And use that information to determine where your recruiting efforts were most effective. If more than half of your new actors are all coming from one particular place, whether that's a certain social media site or page or a job board, then obviously focus on that for next season, because there's no reason to focus on areas. There's no reason to pay Monster, for example, or Indeed, if none of your actors end up coming from those places. And then second, timing, and I think this is very important, and sometimes can be something that haunts have to experiment with a little bit, especially if you are a newer haunt. But timing is very important. So if you put out your job applications and you're working to try to recruit new actors and staff too early, and too early and too late is going to depend on the haunt. It's going to depend on your location. It's going to depend on how big your haunt is. But too early, and people are probably going to forget they even signed up, and they're going to have other plans by the time you reach back out to them in June, July, August, whenever you start doing actor orientations and rehearsals. Too late, and people already have plans for the season. So, you're not going to get anybody if they already have a job lined up or have plans for the month of October. So really experimenting with the right timing and putting out your application is really key. For most haunts that I've talked to, and just from experience, typically June, July, and August are going to be your heavy recruiting months. If you tend to do a lot of summer training, then you can push that up a little bit to more May. If you typically only have a handful of trainings that you offer, maybe in August or early September, depending on when you open, then sometimes doing a little bit later, closer to July or even August, may be better for your haunt. So this isn't something that is prescriptive, and I can say you want to always do recruiting in June or always do it in July. It's going to depend a lot about your haunt and your area, but finding that right timing is also going to be really helpful in establishing a good core group. And then stay in communication. So if they submit an application in May or June, whatever, and you don't have a training until the beginning of August, stay in communication with them. Send them emails, ask them to join your Facebook group, and, make sure that they are in the loop with what's coming up. If you have any actor staff, just fun activities planned for your core group, invite new staff to come to those just to get to know other actors and staff that they're going to be working with for the upcoming season. And don't just ghost them until your first training. And I think that camaraderie and, just staying in communication with them really helps with retention. So when we talk about the actual hiring of new actors and staff, it's important to make sure that you collect all of the information that you need for hiring at the point of hire. Don't wait to do this halfway through the season or at the end of the season. Emergency contact info is huge. For most haunts, that's an obvious one. But for some haunts, especially if you're a newer haunt, you may not think about that. It is very important to have emergency contact information if something happens. Experience, we talked about that, how important it is to know what their experience is so that you can place them in the best possible role. Availability, some haunts operate as you are in this position for the season. So if I assign you to this mask and this costume, that's what you are expected to be in for the season, unless you want to switch and you switch with somebody. Other haunts may be more dynamic, and it depends on the night. You may be one thing on Friday night, you may be a completely different role the next night. So knowing an actor's availability is going to be important in getting them on the schedule. And then finally, the employment eligibility and tax info, that stuff comes important. When tax season comes around, especially if they make over $600 or whatever it is, if you don't have a W-9 form, then you're going to run into problems with your accountant when that time comes. So get all that information up front, so you're not trying to chase down your staff later in the season, because it's a lot harder to get them to fill out a W-9 after the season, after you've already paid them, than it is beforehand. And I know some haunts definitely have had experiences with that. So after we hire, onboarding, try to keep your onboarding as structured as possible. And one thing that whenever I'm talking with haunt owners and actor managers, is sometimes it's important to put yourself in the shoes of a new actor. So if you're, a high school student, a college student, or anyone really that's never worked in the haunt world, you may have absolutely no idea what you just signed up for. So provide several orientation dates, training dates, and try to make sure that any questions that they have, including questions that they may not know to ask, you cover. So call times, breaks, breaks isn't something that someone's going to think about, but after you've been doing the same thing for hours on end, that becomes something that's important. And you're starting to wonder, when do I get a break? Compensation, company policies, any expectations that you have, make sure you cover those in your new actor orientation and training. And then termination. So, this is something that is inevitable with most haunts, especially when you're dealing with seasonal staff and a large number of seasonal staff. It's important to only let your top leadership do terminations. You don't want just any manager, any lead actor having the ability or thinking that they have the ability to terminate actors. So make sure that expectation is set up front. If you're a lead actor for a certain area, really someone in that position should not have the ability to fire someone in their area. They should take that to whoever they report to, and then that person can take it from there. And then you always want to document the reason for the termination. And this is in case anybody comes back later and, files a wrongful termination suit or says they were discriminated against. You want to have that reason documented wherever you document your employee or HR information. You don't have to typically disclose that reason to that person in most places, but just make sure that you internally document it so that you can go back and know what was the reason that we decided to terminate this person. And then finally, try to make it as amicable as possible. You don't want this person to get on social media and blast your haunts and, pull down the morale of friends that they have still working at the haunt. So try to part ways on as best terms as you can. Obviously, most people don't want to be fired, but if you can make it not a super negative situation, and maybe, if there's a possibility they could come back in a future year, let them know, depending on the seriousness of the termination, that will help out in the long run. Before we get into scheduling, does anybody have any other feedback or comments on the parts that we just covered?
I think that point about documenting why you let them go is very important, and I don't think many people actually think of that. I don't know if our team has, but it is important in case they come back. Had never thought about a wrongful dismissal.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, hopefully it doesn't happen, and it's probably rare, but when it does happen, that's when you need it. So now getting into scheduling a little bit, and this is something we were talking about before the session started, and how there's so much variation between haunts. So with Scython, it's something that I've been working on building for the past 5 years or so. And one of the biggest lessons that I have learned is that every single haunt operates differently. Every haunt has different processes. Every haunt does hiring, scheduling a little bit differently. So I kind of put scheduling into two groups, and we have two modes for scheduling for Scython customers. So if you use Scython, you have an option between, you don't have to use scheduling at all, but we have a simple scheduling mode and we have a dynamic scheduling mode.
Do you know what causes haunted attractions to shut down before they even get started? The top 3 roadblocks are lack of funding, lack of leadership, lack of resources. As a member of the Haunters Toolbox, you get instant access to the tools you need to start and grow your own haunted attraction business. To get started, become a member at haunterstoolbox.com.
So our simple scheduling mode is for haunts where you're handed a role. You're handed, whether that's ticket taker, whether you're in a certain acting position, and that is expected to be your position for the duration of the season. Usually smaller haunts have an easier time operating in that mode. The second being dynamic scheduling, where you may switch up positions from night to night. In most cases, maybe 75% of the positions are going to be the same from night to night, but there may be differences. Maybe, Sally can work every night, but on Sunday she's got to leave early because she has early class on Monday morning. So maybe she's in an acting position on Friday and Saturday nights, and on Sunday she's in the ticket booth because she can leave right at close rather than having to stick around until the last group leaves. So having the ability, especially for larger haunts, to dynamically assign positions on a nightly basis is useful. And one of the things that we recently added into Scython was the ability to use tags in order to automatically make those schedule assignments. And then you can go in and tweak based on individual preferences, but it's made it a lot easier, especially for haunts that have very large casts. And then you can always copy from one night to the next, and then just make those changes on the next night. So you're not having to recreate that schedule every single night from scratch. But regardless of what platform or what process you use for scheduling, find what works for you. Find what works best for your haunts, and make sure that your actors know when and where they can find their assignments, especially if they vary from night to night. So if I don't know what my schedule is for the upcoming weekend, make sure I know where I can find it. Are you going to send it in an email? Do I need to check a shared Google Drive? Is it going to be on Scython or another scheduling platform? Just make sure I know that. That way your actor manager or whoever that point person is at your haunt isn't bombarded with questions about, hey, where am I tonight, when everybody arrives at the night of. So the next thing I want to talk about is retention. And I think this is something that for some haunts are overlooked, and I think other haunts very much have this perfected. And it's kind of one or the other. So I think everyone can learn from other haunts and just retention strategies and ideas. And they don't have to be anything major, but anything that builds that camaraderie amongst your actors and staff will help that core group keep coming back from season after season, and especially if you have off-season events as well. So the first one, easy but sometimes overlooked, and that is provide food, provide water. Pizza is always a big hit for most haunts. If you have the means to provide pizza, I'm not saying you necessarily have to do that every single night, but maybe your busiest nights or every Saturday night, it's pizza night and you have pizza available in a break room when they have a break, or you rotate around or have someone bring them a box of pizza to each scene or each area. That can go a long way. Other ideas, if pizza isn't feasible, individually wrapped chips, snacks, sandwiches, and water, I think, is the most important thing. Some haunts will ask actors to bring their own water, and that's fine, but some actors are going to forget. And going from 7 to midnight or whatever your hours are without any water is going to be nearly impossible to keep, especially if they're in a position where they're having to use dialogue and talk for the entire night. So providing water can make a big impact. And then a nice touch, hot cider, hot chocolate, something like that can be nice to have on those, especially cold nights as you get into the later parts of October. And then be supportive. Especially with new actors as they're sort of learning the ropes, it's a great idea for that haunts that will pair new actors with experienced actors. Again, going back to, if you put yourselves in the shoes of a brand new actor, so you go through training, you go through orientation, and you're told all of this stuff, but then it's time to actually go and do that. And yeah, maybe you do a dress rehearsal and, the haunt managers come through, give you some pointers on your dialogue, and now it's opening night. So you're in the scene, maybe you're by yourself, maybe you're with a few other people, but that can be intimidating for a brand new actor. So pairing them with more experienced actors that can say, hey, on the next group that comes through, try this, try to do this, do your primary scare over here, and then maybe try your secondary over here. Here's how to work with any animatronics that may be in the room or any actormatronics that may be in the scene. And that can really help new actors become more comfortable a lot faster, rather than them just sort of figuring it out on their own and figuring out works on their own. Before we go into the next section, does anybody have any other feedback or comments on retention and just actor support?
There's a bunch of comments in the Facebook thread. It's hard to keep up with them all. Some of them
Yeah,
are some of them are questions, some of them are comments.
we got a lot of chatter in there this evening.
Uh,
Um,
water jugs in every scene. Lots of quality candy. We always brought food in too, and always plenty of water. Gatorade. We had sodas. I know sodas are thing about it. Everything. I mean, you got to pick up all that stuff too. So, we always made the actors clean up their scene after the shift, or if they were leaving, because we had to go back the next day and it was a mess. So, but
One of the
yes,
things that we do that's not immediately validation, but I end up watching security cameras throughout the year, and if we see an absolutely stunning scare where customers are falling on the floor, um, we take a copy of that, and at our year-end party, we've got a video of all the different actor managers go around, make them dance in scene. They put it to music, and we have somebody make a video at the year-end party. And when they see themselves on the screen, everybody laughs, right? And then those other people see them getting the scare, and later on they'll get their video, or they'll show up on the screen. But it just builds that um, the intensity of like, look what you did to that customer. I want to do that to that customer. I got to come back next year to do that. As tough as it was, love the free candy and the water, but um, I have the thrill of scaring the shit out of customers, and that gets them to come back.
and of course, scare badges. So,
Yeah, okay, we have to mention that as well. Of course we do.
gotta
I
plug
think that might
that.
be in a later slide too.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Awesome. So, also this kind of goes with retention as well, but paying a competitive wage. If you pay minimum wage and the haunt down the street pays $5 more, they're probably going to get more people than you are, especially for actors that are there primarily for the money, or where that's a big part of the reason they're there. So obviously, all haunts don't have the ability to do that, but if you do, keep that in mind. And for volunteer haunts where you don't have the ability to pay a monetary salary, think about other ways that you can compensate your actors, whether that's just the free food, t-shirts, other haunt swag, or recognitions like Scarlet badges. So just think about ways that you can incentivize your actors and staff, even if that isn't necessarily money. And training is a part of that, offering that ongoing training and development opportunities, that is a benefit. So don't overlook that. I know a lot of haunts that will have multiple training opportunities throughout the summer and into the early fall. And I think if you can have differentiated training, then that goes a long way. And what I mean by that is, yeah, you may have a general orientation for new actors where you just talk about, in general, here's how the haunt operates, here's all of our, actor and staff policies, etc. But then dig a little deeper. If you have, let's say you have several attractions, and one of those attractions is clown themed, another one is zombie themed, whatever the case may be. Offer a clown class where it's all about how to be a clown. Offer a zombie class where it's all about how to be a zombie. Think about the different roles in your haunts and create differentiated training on how to be that thing. And that can really help people go deeper into that type of character and, pull your rookie or your veterans. If you've got a veteran that's been a clown for 5 years, that's a great person to lead that class. So let them get up there and lead that class. Offer multiple trainings if that's feasible. Obviously, everyone can't always make the one training date that you provide. So try to be as flexible as you can. But having that differentiated training goes a long way in building that deep sort of expertise on the role before you start getting into dress rehearsals and opening night. And it really helps them build confidence too. If I've never been a zombie and I'm going into opening night as a zombie, having a full class about how should I walk, how should I move, how should I interact with customers, How should I interact with other actors that are in my scene? All of that is super helpful. And yes, I may figure that out on my own after a few nights, but already understanding that and having an idea of what I'm going to do going into opening night is going to build confidence a lot quicker than if I don't have that. Have a staff night. So this is something that some haunts do, others don't. And it's really just an opportunity for actors to be able to see the haunt in its entirety. So for most haunts, they only see their immediate scene or maybe the scenes around them, but they have no idea what's happening in the rest of the haunt. So give them an opportunity, whether it's a weeknight or maybe even a night before you open or after you open, where actors can have a chance to go through the rest of the haunt and see what else is there, get a chance to see everybody else's scene. One thing I think Brian or Daryl mentioned was an after season award show. I know a lot of haunts do that. It's a great time to give out Scarret badges, to give out any sort of recognitions, trophies, T-shirts, but just a chance to recognize actors and staff. Don't leave out staff. And I think sometimes actors really take the spotlight there, but don't forget about your parking people. Don't forget about your ticket takers. Don't forget about your security, because they are all essential to making the show operate smoothly. So making sure that you include everybody that's part of your team is important here.
We call those people fright attendants.
Yeah, we got a badge for that. Oh, pro tip, after the season, all the stores have Halloween sales. Go pick up the knickknacks from the Halloween sales and then have those as door prizes at your party. Because that's what I would do. Hit up Walgreens, Walmart, all the, to pick up floor mats and home decor stuff. And so we would, as we were handing out badges, we had tables of prizes for people. And then we award prizes as you see fit, whether it's people that showed up the most or people that did the best job or whatever. You just got to make it a thing. You're spending a couple $100 on all these prizes, and it looks like you spent $500. So go do those. Go to the sales. Get the Halloween stuff.
Yeah, definitely a good idea. Haunt swag. So a lot of haunts have gift shops where they sell their own haunt merchandise. When you order that merchandise before the season, order specific haunt swag that is only for your staff. So give them the opportunity to get exclusive swag that the general public can't just buy off of the shelf. Plan events throughout the year. So this is something that I think a lot of haunts overlook, and it's easy, typically free, depending on what you do, to pull off, but it can keep that core group of actors connected and coming back year after year. So just keep in touch with them and plan things throughout the year. So here's a few ideas. Some of this will depend on your location, but find something that the majority of your actors would enjoy and, give them options, plan a few things throughout the year, give them the ability to stay connected outside of the haunt season, especially if you don't have events throughout the year. I know more and more haunts are starting to have Krampus events, Bloody Valentine's, Easter, summer events. But if you're a haunt, especially that does not have those events throughout the year, then I think this is even more important to not just end in the season in November and then, hey, we'll see you again next August or September.
What kind of frequency do you think those events should happen? Like, do you do it monthly? Do you do it a quarter? Do you do 2 throughout the year? What kind of?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer there. I don't think they need to be super frequent. And I think it also depends if you also have other events that you're doing throughout the year. So if you're going to see all your staff again for Krampus and then maybe again for Valentine's, maybe just a couple of spring and summer events. Otherwise, maybe quarterly would be sufficient. But obviously, some people may not be able to make all events. So just having opportunities for people to get together and do something fun. I think the ghost hunt is a cool idea, especially if you own your own building or have access to a place where you can do something like a scavenger hunt or ghost hunt or a movie night on location. Can be a super fun idea. Does anybody in the comments have any other ideas or things that they do in the off season?
Just trying to catch up on all of them, but somebody had said My crew is volunteer at the moment. We feed before and after every night, tons of drinks and snacks. Also make sure everyone got a shirt and handed tons of badges. Once the season ended, hosted a full-blown steak appreciation dinner. So,
Nice.
that's nice. They work their butts off. They deserve a little bit of
Mhm.
party, right? Um, let's see what else here. Oh, we've got lots of stuff in the chat. One of the things that uh, I have done, I'm one of the managers at our haunt, actor managers, and as we get to the end of the season, especially with the new people, their first year, uh, ask them questions about their year. Show that you care and that you're interested in them. One of the things that I like to do is, how has this season changed you? You were very shy at the beginning of the year, yet here you are knocking people on the floor with your scares. How has that changed you? How has that changed your life? And they think about it. And we've got a decent retention rate of those new people coming back, as long as they don't move away and go to school. But you show a little bit of concern for them and they realize that they were a very nervous person at the beginning of the year and now they have the confidence. Remind them that they can use that in the real world. It's called
Mhm.
acting. Sometimes you have to act like you like those customers, in your day job. Uh, but it's acting.
Yeah.
This podcast episode sponsored by Scarlet Badges.
We always were looking for ideas to get those actors to take it to the next level. I really want to do something that they can use more than just a meal, or they can use more than just that a boy, that a girl. They love this stuff, but it's not really promoting a haunter. And then I sit down, Scarlet Badges comes out. That's when I realized this is amazing, because not only is it giving them an attaboy, but it's also promoting them all year round. And to promote somebody, to give somebody accolades all year round and have them be able to wear it on their shoulder with pride means a lot. This right here says this is who nailed it on this day in this year for the rest of their life, for the rest of their haunting life. And that's what I really love about this product, is you're able to give haunting to somebody an attaboy 365 days a year. And that's, so hats off to you guys. I think this is a great product and I wish you the best of luck because it's awesome.
Get your Scare Badges at scarebadges.com.
Another good thing is if your haunt closes early, like your haunt closes in November, or the end of October, and other haunts are open, go to other haunted houses and take your whole crew with you if you can.
Yeah.
We have
that's a great
trade
idea.
shows, conventions that allow actors. Those are good places to go to.
Yeah. And likewise, if you don't do Krampus, or if you do Krampus the second weekend of December only, and other haunts in your area have Krampus events the third weekend of December, try to invite your crew out to those. So yeah, definitely a good idea there.
And James said, reflect on the year is excellent. Many of our crew are already a bit out of their element, especially the first years. He also said props or costume workshops where you work together. There was one back here, I think George was saying that he has $10 McDonald's gift cards in his pocket for any staff that goes above and beyond that night, so just handing out gift cards,
Yeah, that's
stuff like
cool.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, all great ideas. Awesome. So that's kind of the conclusion to that part. And I wanted to do a very brief demo of Scython. I know we may have some current Scython customers that are on the call. If you're not familiar with Scython, you may benefit just from seeing some of the features that we have here. Even if you don't use Scython, some of the things here you can do with Google Sheets or other platforms. Obviously, I want to encourage you, if you're not a Scython member, to join. And I believe Brian has a discount code for 20% off. Is that Toolbox 20, Brian?
Yes, I believe so.
So if you sign up for Scython, and the website is scython.io, you can just Google Scython. When you go to sign up, all accounts start with a 30-day free trial. Within that 30 days, if you choose a subscription, at the checkout, if you enter Toolbox 20, it will give you 20% off. And if we can put Toolbox 20 in the comments or somewhere on the screen so that people have access or can see that. And I'm going to switch tabs. Can people see my other tab?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So for this, I'm going to be very, very brief and just go over the high-level features. If you are interested in seeing a more in-depth demo, we have a link on our website, or just shoot us an email. There's also a contact form on our website, and we can schedule an hour customized demo where we can talk about exactly how Scython can work for your haunt and your specific needs. So this is just going to be a very, very high level demo for anyone just to see the overall features. So when you first log into Scython, we have a dashboard that sort of gives you at a glance metrics, the staff summary for the night. You can customize what metrics you see up at the top depending on your role. All of your managers can have access to your Scython account, whoever you want to give access. So I'm going to just kind of go in order here. So I'm going to start with my recruitment. So this is typically where you will start when you sign up for a new account. And this gives you the ability to create a custom branded recruitment form for your potential actors and staff to sign up. So think kind of like a Google Forms, but a little bit more specific. So we can customize all of this at the top. We can decide which information we want to collect from our potential staff. On the questionnaire, you can add as many custom questions as you want. We also have a new compliance checker that will ensure that all of your questions are compliant for your location. So regardless of where you are, it will check your federal as well as state, or if you're in Canada, the laws of your province, to make sure that there's nothing that maybe needs to be changed to make sure that you're in compliance with that. You can also add forms, so tax forms, any sort of PDFs that you want actors to physically sign and bring back to the haunt, you can include here. And then as well as the schedule, if you want for new actors and staff to go ahead and mark their availability, you can add all of the nights that you're open, and they can go ahead and check which nights they can work. Optionally, you can turn this off if you want for only staff to mark their availability once they are hired. So you have some options there. As your potential actors start filling out that form, you'll see them all on the staff page. Their initial status will be not reviewed. As they go through your hiring process, you can change them to whatever status makes sense. So all of these statuses aren't necessarily used, but depending on your haunt and your process, you can move them from not reviewed all the way through until hired. We do have a background check component. We are partnered with Checkr, which also gives you the ability to select everyone that you want to run a background check on. Once the check is complete, it can automatically change the status. So you can customize all of that as well within the platform. Positions and costumes. So this is somewhat going to be dependent on how you do scheduling. If you use our simple scheduling mode, you're only going to see costumes, and you'll have the ability to tie actors directly to a costume. If you use the dynamic scheduling mode, then you will, on each night, you will be able to assign an actor to a position, and then those positions are tied back to a costume. And all of this stuff is reportable and customizable. And we'll look at the schedule next, and I'll just give you a brief idea of how that looks. So I have a few people already scheduled. So I can go in here and I've got these 3 people that are unassigned for this given night. So I'm going to assign Brianna to the Crypt Guard, Ethan to the Juggling Clown, and Lucas to the Cyborg. So now I have, for that night, I have my full schedule. I can run a report. I can download this as a PDF or a CSV. If you have a very large number of staff, you can also use our automatic scheduling. So I'll do that on one that doesn't have anyone scheduled. We'll use this one. So I know this is just 7, but pretend this is 400. So I can go up here. Let me switch this to, I'm on dynamic. Let's see. It looks like the account I'm on does not have automatic scheduling, so I'll just talk about it instead of logging out and logging into a different account. So there's a button where I can just click to do automatic scheduling, and it will use tags that I can assign to actors at any point in time. I can also determine if I want for actors and staff to be able to self-assign tags. And when I say tag, I mean like maybe I'd offer a clown class, and I certify everyone that goes to that class as a clown. And then maybe I offer a zombie class, and everyone there is certified to be a zombie. So let's say I attend both classes. So I have the zombie tag and I have the clown tag. If I run automatic scheduling and all of my clowns are tagged with the clown tag, all of my zombie positions are tagged with the zombie position, I can get assigned to either one of those types of roles. If I don't have a tag, I won't be assigned to a position that requires that tag. So if you're interested in seeing more, like I said, reach out and we can do a customized demo. Time tracking, you can check your actors in and out directly from this page. If they call in, you can also mark them as they call in and add the reason here. You can also turn on the kiosk mode, which allows actors to use their PIN code or a staff badge, which you can create and provide to all of your staff. And they can just scan their badge to easily check in, scan it again to check out at the end of the night. If you have actors that typically like to show up an hour, 2 hours before you really need them there, you can always set this earliest check-in time. If you don't really need your actors to be on site until, let's say, 7:30, then anybody that checks in before this time, that's fine. If you have the kiosk station set up for them, they can check in before 7:30, but it won't start counting their time until this earliest check-in. And then somewhat similarly, the default checkout time is here. If you have an actor that checks in, but maybe it's a long night and they forget to check out, if they do not have a checkout time for a given night, it will use your default time here. So we can say maybe the night wraps up at 1 o'clock. So if someone has not checked out, then it will use the default time here of 1 o'clock. Communication, you can do text and email communication. You also have the ability to do two-way communication with all of your actors and staff. So you will get a dedicated actor number that will be a local number that is assigned to your haunt. You can give that number out. Actors can text that number. They can also call it and leave a voicemail, and you can check those messages and respond to those messages all within Cython. Somewhat newer feature, and it's an incidents reports option. So if you have any incidents, it allows you to keep track of that all within Cython. So you can keep track of all of the details of those incidents. You can also export that as a PDF if that's needed later for legal documentation. Like I said earlier, almost everything in Cython is reportable. You can generate a report and export that as needed. And then last but not least, awards. You can create your own awards and decide who are the recipients of those awards. You can also add Scarrett badges. So Brian and Daryl, we probably need to update this with the any new badges that you have. But this allows
There's new ones coming out. Yep.
Here and select which ones you have, and you can just say add badges, and boom, they're all there. So I don't want to go into too much detail. Like I said, if you're interested in seeing a demo, definitely reach out to us, and we can set that up.
Do have a couple of questions. Can actors have multiple tags?
Yes, actors can have as many tags.
Okay. Do background checks work in Canada?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the other one? And just there's a few people who use it, George and Craig for sure, and then I think there was someone else. So they like your stuff. So
appreciate it. I was going to jump in here and just show tags real quick because some people may not have seen that. Let me just get into a different account here.
Oh, Craig did say, let's see, he loves Cython, wish he could auto-populate tax forms and actors could sign online.
Oh yeah, that was the other one. I knew there was something else I was looking for.
Yeah, if you can email us any details there. One thing I will say, over probably the past 2 or 3 years, 95% of new features that we've added to Cython have been customer requests. So we get our ideas from haunts that are using our platform and have ideas to help build it and improve it. So any ideas that you have, definitely shoot it our way and we'll try to get it implemented. So this is the tags option. So you have the ability to go in here and you can add whatever tags make sense for your haunt. You can also add a custom tag if there's something that's not in our list here. So you can add as many tags as you need. And then you can add directly from this page. You can say, okay, the chainsaw, this position, and this position all have chainsaws. And then if you know you want to go ahead and assign those to certain staff, you can say, okay, let's say these 4 people are good at chainsaws. So we're going to save that. And now those positions and staff have those tags. You can also do it individually from the staff and the positions pages. If you click on a staff, it gives you the ability to add a tag from there. You can also have the ability for them to add their own tags. So for example, let's say you have like this food handler tag. If you want for actors to be able to say, yeah, I have my food handler certification, you can allow them to self select that tag. So if I check this box and save it, I now see that this is going to be available for actors and staff to self-check it from their staff portal. And now that we've done that, I can go in here and show. So we see everyone is unassigned for this particular day. So I can say auto assign, and I'll just click that button, and it's thinking. And where this is my demo account, there we go. It took a little bit longer than I thought. So there we go. So now everyone has been automatically assigned a position based on their tags and their previous assignment. So it also takes that into account. So let's say Harper has been the robot zombie for the last 3 of the 4 nights. It's going to prioritize her for that role before another role, even if there's other matching tags. So it's going to intelligently figure out the best possible role for each person.
Okay.
And that is only available on our enterprise plan. So if you are a current Scython customer, if you look at your haunt settings, if you are not on the enterprise plan, if you upgrade, it does give you the ability for the auto scheduling. Any other questions, or just in general, anything that we've talked about tonight? Any questions or comments?
Do you have a couple more specifically Scython ones?
Okay.
Can, say, an owner and manager be signed in at the same time on different devices?
Absolutely. You can be
Okay.
signed on as many devices as you need, and you can easily add your managers from here. You can add as many as you need. And we have a few different manager types as well. So they can be an admin manager that has access to everything, a standard manager, or a view only, which obviously view only would not be able to make changes, would be able to see all of the data and run reports.
Okay. James is asking, is the amount of years experience either host has with this platform? I have personally not used it at all. Brian, have you used it at all?
No, I have not.
Okay. So sorry, James, but there are other people in the chat. Specifically, I believe it is George and Craig that have used that platform. I don't know how long they've used it for. Tony is asking, is there a way to input actors without having them fill out everything?
There is, and I'll answer that former question first. If you go to our homepage, we have a list of quite a few of our current customers that have given us permission to put their logo on our website. So I think there's 25 haunts that are listed there. So that's kind of our customer showcase for haunts that do currently use Scython.
And the feedback that I get from trade shows and other people that use it is great feedback. So
great to hear, Brian. And yeah, you can add staff directly. If you go to the staff page and click add new, you can add them. And then they can also be added if they fill out the recruitment form.
Does the information on the incident reports remain private?
It is visible to all managers, but outside of that, it would be private. But anybody that you have added to your Scython account would be able to see incident reports.
Now, can your management team, the Scython team themselves see any of our data?
We do not. We will only go into an account in the case of troubleshooting. So if someone reaches out to us and says, we have a question about something, we'll ask permission, and then we do have the ability to go in to an account to see the view as you are seeing it. But other than that, we are not accessing customer data.
Okay. Craig has mentioned he's been on it for 4 years, and George Luco has used Scython for 2 seasons now. So hopefully that gives some of the other folks some ideas. And then with, like you said on the website, customers, other haunts that have used it, having their logo there so people can reach out and find out how things are.
Tony was asking, is there a way to input actors without having them to fill out everything?
Yes, I had asked that one.
Oh, you already did. Okay.
Tell me if I'm not answering that, but yeah, any manager can click on add new and can add staff directly from the screen.
Now, not necessarily about this, but some of the other things. Um,
Yeah, so if you guys have any more questions
yeah, throw them in the chat
about
right away
anything,
here.
platform
Um,
or recruiting or managing or hiring.
Anthony had mentioned, not necessarily a question, but always let actors know if they need to talk about anything haunt related or in their personal life to call me. Come into the haunt, pull me aside, no matter what, I'll stop what I'm doing and talk. My veteran actors would also tell new actors not to be afraid to come see me for anything. So that's just building that humanity within the haunt, because there's times that actors have issues, right, in their personal life, and it affects how they're scaring customers.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I think that is great feedback.
One of the things that we do that I had thought about as well as we were talking about having a staff night, we have 3 individual haunts with 120 to 140 actors every night for 29 nights, which I calculated that's over 3,400 shifts between characters over 29 nights. The numbers didn't make sense to me until I did that.
Have you checked out HauntersToolbox.com yet? It's free to join and full of useful information to help you start and grow your own haunted attraction business. All the information on HauntersToolbox.com is created by the pros who do it. We have a library with ebooks and presentations on topics like creating an employee handbook, starting a business plan, or the best types of lights to use at your haunt, plus a lot more. You get instant access to the library plus free video masterclasses by the experts in the haunt industry. Classes like Alan Hops from Dark Hour Haunted House teaching scare acting, or Philip Hernandez from the Haunted Attraction Network teaching marketing and social media, or Leonard Pickle from Hauntpreneurs teaching haunt design and construction. I even got a few masterclasses in there as well. You don't have to do it alone. Let us help you. We also host monthly live masterclasses to steer you in the right direction, so you don't get lost. Once you become a member, you also get instant updates on our next masterclass in your email, so you don't miss the next one. And if you need more one-on-one help, there is an option for that as well. I would be honored to help you get your attraction started, or help you grow your current one. I know what it takes. Let's talk. If you're interested, you want to start and grow your haunted attraction, go check out HauntersToolbox.com. Don't be scared.
During our rehearsal week, which is 1 week before the show opens, we we'll do one show, populate it with all the actors, get as many in costumes as we can, and then let the actors from the other haunts go through, just as a chance to see what we're planning on doing for opening night. It's amazing how things change between opening night and the last night of the haunt, though, too. Roles get added, roles get changed, roles get removed. Actors
People leave.
get their confidence, people leave. Yeah.
Erica was asking, are the background checks in Scython included, or is it separate?
Yeah, that's a great question. We provide the integration, but we are not in charge of the pricing. I believe it is $29 per background check, and that is all subject to checkers pricing. I think if you're a very large haunt, sometimes they will offer discounts. But essentially, when you start that process within Scython, you go here and you start that process. And when you hit get started, you essentially create an account on Checkers End, and then it links it with your Scython account, which makes it easy for you to request background checks all from Scython. And then once those are completed, it returns all of those results back to Scython. But the pricing is all done through Checker and subject to their terms and pricing.
I know a lot of good comments and a lot of good. So, guys, if you're listening to this on the podcast or you missed the video, go back and watch the video and read the comments.
Daniel has a very important point about feeding the staff, especially if you're doing it on a nightly basis. No White Castle or Taco Bell. It causes restroom issues. Never feed your actors that.
Usually it's sugar for us. It's like too much soda. It's like, oh man, yeah.
Or too many energy drinks. I've
Yeah,
seen
that too.
actors, that they come in with 2 or 3 monsters and they're just wired beyond belief by the time we get to 10 or 11 o'clock.
And they crash hard.
Yeah, they do.
Chuck Duty, maybe you got this one. I don't know. Can you easily assign the actors to the same roles each night, or have to do each night separately? Will it unassign them if they are scheduled off for a particular night?
Yeah, great question. So they mark their availability first. So typically you want to have them as part of their sign up process, or after they're officially marked as hired to go in and mark their availability. Once you have a night scheduled, you can use the copy from shift function to copy all of your positions from one to the next. So from shift to shift. And if they're not on the shift you're copying to, it just won't copy them over. If they call in, then you'll have the option. It will ask you, do you want to remove them from the schedule? You can say yes or no.
Yeah, I could definitely would have used this when I owned my haunt, but because it's a lot more organized than I ever was. So
Yeah, it's something that, when I was hiring and managing actors for a large haunt, this was way back. I started in 2011, and we used Facebook Messenger to try to get messages out. We were actually using this old school like punch card machine for time tracking, and at the time, our HR person at the end of every weekend would manually tally up all of those hours, and then have to figure out what everybody's pay was at the end of the season. We were just using a lot of different tools to try to run our haunt and manage our actor group. So having something like this back then, would have been fantastic for me as well. So it's something that I've tried to incorporate, as well as all of the new feedback that we've received from customers as far as what is everything that we need for like the ultimate actor management toolkit. What are all the possible things that we need, and let's put it all into one platform just to make it easy for everybody to find and access all of that data.
So you said you get feedback from your customers to improve Scython. So are you open to other things people throw at you, and if something comes up like I don't know, training, like maybe different trainings they take at seminars or stuff like that could be added to their as a tag maybe? I don't know, but so I was
yeah, if you're talking about tags, you can add as many custom tags. I mean, we can obviously add tags kind of to the default bank of tag values, but you can add as many custom tags as you want as well.
this guy or actor went to the clown training at Trans World or whatever, or they did this workshop, or so you can always create your own thing. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, like giving it the heights, stamina. Yeah, that would be handy too. Especially when you're working with like 50 actors, it's like you forget.
Right.
Try to remember everybody's names.
And this is something too that can be very useful, especially for haunts that do auditions. Where they are working one-on-one with an actor, with a new actor. They audition, at that time, figure out, what are their skills? Are they good at dialogue? And start checking some tags as they are going through that audition at the time that you hire them. Because like you said, if you're dealing with a very large cast, you're not going to remember that next week or even an hour later. So do it as you go. And then you sort of have everybody's profile, everybody's tags already created when you get ready to start doing your scheduling.
Sure beats multiple notebooks where you try to figure out which notebook you stuck something in.
It does.
Yeah, that's using my method. So that's good. So guys, any more questions? Get close to 9 o'clock. Eli said I give up on names this year. Yeah. I try to remember names. Takes me a couple of times, but I always learn a trick about names is I try to find something about the person that rhymes with the name or links with the name and kind of defines who they are, or rhymes with the name, or something visually for you that you can say as soon as you see Justin, you're like, oh, it's Justin. I know Justin. But
yeah, it can be difficult though when you're dealing with a
lot of people,
potentially hundreds of actors trying to learn names in 30 days.
Yeah, well, then you can go to your Scython account and pull up. Oh yeah, that person right there. Can you search by photo, or is it all just Is there a photo of them? I guess there was a photo right on
There is. You can choose when they fill out their recruitment form. You can select required there to make them when they submit their application to include a photo, and then you'll have a photo of everybody in their profile.
There you go. Yeah, that's cool. So many things all in one spot.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
it's pretty
goal,
impressive.
and like I said, if anyone has additional ideas, we are always happy to take that feedback.
So, Justin, if you're done with Scython, we'll talk to you a little bit about maybe your season. What did you do this year? You said you acted.
I did. I
Yeah.
acted just one night, so I primarily focused on customer support for the season. So the number of emails and just questions that we get really ramp up in around August through about the beginning of October. So I try to focus these days on just being available for that. We have a couple people on staff that are available for customer support, but I did go out and act one night, and I'm trying to think what I even was. I was some sort of I don't even know. I think I was like a big rat or something. And, my entire arms were spray painted out. It was like 50 degrees, and I was wearing this tank top with my arms completely covered in black with like vines going through it. And I had my eyes blacked out, and it was a ton of fun. I was working in a wooded scene on a bridge. So, and I had a little button where I could hit the horn to a old abandoned ice cream truck that was sitting off in the distance. So I'd hit that button, the lights would turn on, and it would hit that horn. So it was a great distraction from my scene before they got to me. But I was there probably 4 hours, and I was exhausted. I just forgot how hard it was to run 100% for 4 hours. But it was a ton of fun. But I only acted for the one night this year.
It's good. It's good. Daryl's open. How many nights are you open, Daryl? You're always haunt.
Last year we were open 29 nights,
Wow.
and
So when did you
including
start?
our Hell Week, which was 13 days in a row this year.
13 days in a row. And
Wow.
how long are the nights? Like how many hours do you think
Uh,
actors putting in?
Weeknights, Monday through Thursday, were 7 to 10, that we were open to the public. Well, public started coming in at 6:30, but open to 7 to 10 for the haunts. Fridays was 7 to midnight, Saturdays 6 to midnight, and Sundays was 6 to 10.
Okay, it's
So,
4 to 6 hour.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's long enough that it tires you out, especially that last couple of weeks. Now we had incentives usually on the Fridays. Boss ended up bringing in, a whole bunch of pizzas, and we have a food truck on premises, so often at the end of the night, concession would bring up popcorn or donuts, and at the end of the season, they ended up cooking up the last of the brisket and all of the hot dogs and chicken wings and fried dill pickles and stuff, so they wouldn't have to, freeze it for the year. Uh, but they cooked all that up, and everybody got a chance to stuff their faces and have a beverage and take care of. Yay, we're done.
It's a great season finale.
And then a couple of weeks, 3 weeks later, I think was the actual staff party, and
Okay.
yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah, I always called mine the Thanksgiving party because we used to have it like right week before Thanksgiving. They were in between. Our last day was always in October, so it was like 2 weeks after for me to get my awards figured out, who was getting them, getting the T-shirts and the hoodies and the all the gifts together, and so try to make it a big thing. Try to recognize them. So
Yeah.
thanks, Killing. Yep, that's right, Eli. Um, but yeah, so Justin, appreciate your time. Thanks for showing us all the. So what was added this year? Was something new added? Did you add?
Yeah, the automatic scheduling as well as the incidents were the two big features that were added this year
Okay.
or since summer. We usually do quarterly updates, so there's updates and improvements that are continuously being added to the platform quarterly.
Well, a lot of good feedback. A lot of people like it. So
Appreciate it, and yeah, thank you for everyone that is a current customer. And if, like I said, if anyone else is interested in taking a look at it, reach out to me, and we can schedule some time.
That's Scython.io, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And use that coupon code Toolbox20, which is exclusive to Hunter's Toolbox members.
And I tagged that comment up to the top, so that comment's at the top of the list.
The only other time we offer a discount is at Transworld. We have a show discount as well.
So take advantage of that, guys.
And even if you don't have Scython, stop by and see us. We'll be at booth 2024 at Transworld if you are at Transworld this March.
You'll
Yeah.
be at 2024 in 2026?
Yeah. It is easy to remember, but I wish it was 2026.
Yeah, I think we had that one year too. No, that was like Halloween. It was like 10/32 or something. It was like, man, it was almost Halloween. We're off the number.
Yeah.
So now that you said that, I'm gonna go to the website and check it out and see what booth we are, because I haven't
Oh,
Yeah.
checked.
Eli has
I think
got
they
one
may have
other
just
comment. Eli has got
really-
one other comment here for you, Justin. Do you
Okay.
have medical people in your crews and tabs? You could just do that with a tag, couldn't you?
Can you repeat the question?
Do you have medical people in your crews and tabs? So people who have first aid training. Would that just most likely be a tag?
It would, yeah. I think we have. Let's see. I think we have an existing tag, yeah, for EMT or first aid CPR, and like I said, you don't have to use all of these. So if you only want to say use the first aid CPR, you can only add that one and not even make the other one available. So you sort of choose from within this hunt settings which tags you want to use across the platform.
Excellent.
And how do you make a custom tag?
If you go to add tags, you can choose the category. So if I want to add a new skill, I can just add it here. Who has a good skill for me?
Well, you have a lot of them in there. Wow. Is there a juggler?
No.
Not yet.
So we add juggler and then add the tag. Where to go? Oh, it's on page 2. Juggler.
Okay. Sweet.
Interesting.
And the skill even looks like it's a little juggler, a little
Yeah.
icon. Yeah. Now, do you use any AI in your stuff, or are you gonna?
We do. We use AI in a couple of places. We have so the automatic scheduling does have an AI component to it on the back end. We have a proprietary algorithm that incorporates AI as part of the decision making. We also have a feature on the costumes page called Character Studio. And this is where you can generate character narratives based on, any one of these 6 things. So I can say, I've got a certain scene or location and someone with a special ability. So I can say, in the woods, and I have someone that we'll say, can run fast and can juggle. I don't know. And then it will create a character narrative based on those things. So Whispering Willow.
Oh, that's neat. And
We'll see what it
and
comes
a-
up with for
an
an image. It
image.
usually takes a few seconds. So the images usually aren't really, just kind of an idea of what that could look like. But the descriptions can sometimes be useful. And if it is, you can just say add to costumes and it will start a new costume. And if you go to the character tab, it will already have that narrative that it generated pre-populated.
Right.
And then you can add any makeup notes that you want. And then if you have a specific costume, you can add the picture there. You can decide what attraction that character is going to be in, and then you can add it to your costumes list.
It'd be good for idea generation too. Just
It is,
kinda
yeah.
Kicking around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other last minute questions or comments?
Well, while we're waiting, last minute comments from the audience. Thanks again. Scython.io. See you at Transworld. We will be there as well. Scare badges. I'm not sure our booth number yet, but I'll find that out. And I know we had some scare actor managers in the comments tonight, some scare actors, some owners. So good feedback, guys. Thanks for all your comments and your questions. They helped out a lot. But yeah, so no, and remember, use Toolbox 20 to get you 20% off. And once again, this will be pinned to the Hunters Toolbox Facebook group. Or if you are on our email list as a member, you will get this in your email. All right, guys. Well, You're welcome, guys. See a lot of thank you. So thank you guys for attending. Justin, thanks for this. Was great.
Thanks for having me.
Daryl, you're just great all the time. So
We try. We keep trying.
all right.
It's colder than heck up here, but hey, we keep trying.
Hey, man, it's actually warm. It's actually it was like almost like 60 degrees Fahrenheit today. So it's it was nice. January. I was in
Glad you didn't
shorts.
mention that earlier in the show because I probably would have hung up and left. Go cry in the corner.
Yeah, your weather's coming Friday. It'll be here.
Thank you, everybody that has chatted and asked your questions. We hope we get everything answered tonight. But keep attending all of our Hunter's Toolbox webinars because
another one
we
next
got more
month.
stuff coming up. Yep.
Stay tuned. Get on our email list or in the Facebook group and be notified. All right. Well, let's
Thanks,
sign off,
everybody.
guys.
Thank you very much, Justin. Thanks for hosting, Brian. And I'm Daryl. Over and out, everyone.
This podcast episode sponsored by Scarett Badges. Get your Scarett Badges at scarebadges.com. Also sponsored by Hunter's Toolbox. Take your haunt to the next level at hunterstoolbox.com. Thank you for listening to Haunt Topic Radio. Please leave a comment wherever you found this podcast. Each comment you leave will help spread the word to other haunters around the world. See you next time.